Is this thing on?
And there's no going back. One of the concerns is Trump is going to start drilling oil, which is one of our precious natural resource, because once it's gone, it's gone. And are we willing to sacrifice 10 years of cheaper gas versus after that 10 years, possible 20 years of environmental degradation and unforeseen consequences for drilling and worsening the environment? Like those, we're not seeing the bigger picture of like how our impact affects future generations.
Oh, 100%.
Okay. Great. Thank you. We need this environmental perspective because
I
like,
can talk on what you just said for a very long time. So if you want to circle back to that, we can.
but but it's hard for people who don't like one who don't have the knowledge or education about the impact of the environment and the consequences of it. It's really difficult for those people to prioritize that when they are prioritizing the things that they've been taught to prioritize, which is possibly their dominance in society or how much money they make or the families that they create, right? They're not thinking about every facet of their existence and our shared existence, which needs to be considered for us to have an existence that works for everybody.
Yeah. And the folks that are living paycheck to paycheck or not even, right,
Yeah.
are their focus is just on pure survival. And there's a large population of people that are living at that income level. And so taking care of the environment is looked at as like this luxury. And the really harsh reality is that the people that are living closest to the land, which are the poorest populations that are here and the places that they're living, are the people that are being and will continue to be affected by the environmental degradation and poisons that are occurring on this planet. When you are laying in a toxic field, you have no protection against what's occurring. Those of us that have nice homes and we can live away from the subways and the power plants because we have that ability because of the income that we have, we're further removed from what's happening in the environment. So I think that that's another part of this like disconnect between what's essential and what's not.
Yeah, man. Yeah, again, thank you for your perspective. I almost got emotional right there you're because these people just don't see it. You know what I mean? And it's
And it is social inequality at its core.
right. Oh, okay. All right, let's get to the next question.
Okay.
What do you believe about the people who voted opposite of you?
Oh my God. I don't know what to believe about the people who voted opposite me. It's really hard to see past the values that the new GOP has embraced. Perpetuating fear as a means to an end is not only regressive, it's entirely defeatist. And the party has embraced this perspective as a way to unite their party, but it goes against human nature and it goes against a democracy that we pride ourselves in and that we have and still fight so fiercely maintain. Humans are social creatures and they need not only a sense of community, but a sense of safety. There's a reason we moved away from our nomadic lifestyle and became farmers. It isn't a coincidence or something that we as a species just stumbled into. It's our biology. And so the values that this new GOP has embraced, it seems so at our core, it's so conflicting. I can't wrap my head around it.
You're talking about the GOP platform and how some of it goes against our evolutionary modes of functioning, if you will. What do you say about their thoughts about we need to repopulate, we need to birth more people and the Republican Party maintains the homogenous male and female partnership and procreation of the species. They're the ones that are getting the they're the ones that are getting those points. And so you have a lot of people who are either religious or are just people who have children and believe, oh, okay, we do need to continue to have children and we do need to continue to propagate the species because the Democrats are not emphasizing it. They don't think it's important. They think gay people are important and trans people are important and not heteronormative people having babies. Tough one, huh?
That is a tough one. So speaking in a biological terms, so
Sure.
for every species, there's something called a J curve. There is a carrying capacity for every species in every niche and every place that from bugs to blue whales, yeah, that occurs in a species. And it's a natural checks and balance. When you have this progression, the population goes up and it hits a point where the environment it's in is, if they keep propagating, will no longer be able to sustain themselves. And they either are going to crash as a population or it evens off. And most populations, it's cyclic. You're right. You see the J, it goes up. You have a crash. You have a J, it goes up. And that's what occurs. We as humans and science, right? We have found and are continuing to find ways around that J curve. We have surpassed, a lot of scientists would argue that we have surpassed our carrying capacity on this planet. And because of advances in science. And so we are finding ways. I don't think that it's a coincidence that we're trying to find ways to go to Mars and to other places and to start seeing what types of resources those planets have or if they're habitable by humans. So that being said, I would argue, I don't think that the Democratic Party is saying, don't procreate, don't continue species. Perpetuation of the species is the only way that you're not going to hit extinction. That's just reality. But I think that there needs to be a mindfulness to embarking on that journey, right? When a dog has 12 puppies, they can't all nurse at the same time. And one of them, two of them, I don't even know how many, might not even survive. And so we live in a finite space called planet Earth. Mm-hmm. It has resources that are there and that we exploit so that we can survive. If we try to understand this planet and how we can live with it, instead of mining it down to the very last thing that's there so that we have to go to another planet. So there are species of whales that go to beaches and mine the beaches for shrimp. And they will do it for a certain amount of time. And then when they leave, they don't come back to those beaches for years and years in order to let those species repopulate so they don't decimate their only food source. Right? Like we need to think about that when we're planning our futures and our families. So I think that there's this really gross disconnect between being responsible and mindful about the choices you make in your life, like procreation and what that looks like, or starting families in any way, right? Adoption or fostering or however you define starting a family. Sure. There's this disconnect between that and having no thought process and just throwing everything out the window and everyone, I don't know why it needs to be so different, right? This all comes down to having the choice about what we want to do. But if we're not mindful about it, we're going to cause our own extinction.
And that's your point. That's your point with much of what you said is that we have the natural world has natural cycles. And if you're a species lucky enough to be in the food chain, if you eradicate your food source, you will die. And that's that J curve you're saying. And even though you might not totally kill yourself off as a species, and there might be a couple left, and the reduction of numbers allows for that species to be built up again, like you said, in the J curve that happens in the natural world. What you were alluding to, but didn't totally say, is that not all species come back from that.
Yes. Correct.
And that's what you said when you said extinction is a natural part of the natural world.
Yeah.
We humans are extremely unique beings. Like we're the only ones that are able to walk, talk, and think the way we do on this planet. And so if we erode our planet and our food sources, which are dependent on our planet, right? Like our fish are dependent on streams being healthy to be able to swim through them and propagate so that we can have the caviar that we have or the fish that we have. If we don't thoughtfully keep balance in that system, we could eventually get to the top of that, fall off, and not be able to recover as a species. And then we're gone as
Yeah.
like in the story of the universe, like by human species. And people don't, and you're saying people don't mindfully think about that when they make the choices that they do to live.
Correct. Yeah. That's yes. Thank you for
Okay.
summarizing.
Oh my God. Yeah, no, that's I live and know that, which is why I'm really happy. This is a product placement. I just got a mill. I'm gonna get that out. But no, we got a mill. We like composting here because because we like to have a garden that we can feed from during the growing season, but two, because we know the impact of our waste on the greater system. And so we're more responsible in that terms, but we also know about it. So I don't know. There's a lot to unpack with all of this. I'm trying to keep the audience in mind and the people who voted opposite of me. And there's just a lot of perspectives to keep in mind. It's a bit
Yeah.
difficult.
Yeah.
Um, so the next question for you is, what is the worst thing about society to you?
The unwillingness to listen and accept truths, whatever they may be, right? It's the willful ignorance that we succumb to in order to self-soothe and create our own reality that we can find palatable. This country has been doing this for a very long time. And what's interesting is the level of unrest and dissatisfaction that's running rampant in this country. And I mean, in the world, really, right? It's clear that we need to grow and we need to change. It's probably one of the primary drivers for the undercurrent of unrest and dissatisfaction, but we're perpetuating our own stagnation and consequently our own suffering by choosing to only believe what's familiar and provides comfort. And right, this human history has shown that it's only in our discomfort and struggle that we grow as individuals, as a society, as a species.
Yeah, no, I don't need to sum that up because I think that was brilliantly stated. Thank you. The next question is, what do you believe is one of the reasons that Trump and the largely Republican Congress was elected?
Short-sightedness. I think another reason is selfishness. I think people in this country are really big on instant gratification and making decisions based on what will benefit them. And a perfect example of this, and you brought this up just a little bit ago, is that we live in a throwaway society where if it doesn't meet our needs right now, and you talked about the waste we generate, right? Like if it doesn't meet our needs right now, just throw it away and get something new. The average person keeps a car for only 6 years. This is a car. Like they think of the impact on this planet and the resources that are used. And so, and that's just crazy to me. It's crazy to me. Where's the longevity in that? So for me, what's missing is this thought process. The fact that what we all keep discarding doesn't just disappear. It's in a huge garbage dump that's poisoning our planet. And there's a parallel connection with wanting to overhaul Washington, D.C. and just start over with no thought to what it might mean beyond right now. Right. So that's like that. So it's that short-sightedness and the selfishness. Right. And selfishness doesn't have to be a negative thing.
Sure.
So, yeah.
And so you did a good job of connecting the individual with the societal there, right? Trump's whole thing is we're gonna drain the swamp, which is an old adage, but the point is he wants to end some things that have been in practice in this country for a long time. That is a throwing away that can be like a simile or a metaphor for individuals throwing something away just for current gratification. One, we haven't come up with ways to maybe repurpose that thing, or instead of trash, turn it into maybe art or maybe some component of something else, right? It's just it's easier to just throw it away, or I'm not even thinking about it. I'm just going to throw it away.
Right. And the short-sightedness is a big deal. Like the analysts have said that the number one thing was about the economy, and the answers that Trump has had in how he's going to turn that around, really short-sighted.
An example to that is, we want to get rid of all of the illegal aliens and illegal people. On my side, we call them people. We call them undocumented people, but on their side, illegal aliens, right? We want to get rid of them, mass deportation, without any thoughtfulness about the consequences to our agriculture system or our service sector or the people who are cooking our food behind the curtain. You know what I mean? There's a lot of undocumented people in this country that are helping our economy move. And if we were to remove all of them, like, we don't even know how that's going to cripple the economy at that point. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, I do. And I know exactly what you're saying. I mean,
Yeah.
there was a news story I was listening to about how the changes that are being discussed are going to affect us from being able to stay at the forefront of R&D, right? For all of the new developments that are coming, because we're getting a lot of brilliant people from all over the world. And the types of protocols that Trump wants to start initiating are going to be preventative from having people even want to be a part of this.
And that's a great point, because America is a beautiful tapestry of diverse people and cultures and ideas. Like, that's the cliche of America, and that's the truth of America, right? If you ever gone to an Asian country where the majority of people all look the same or have relatively the same culture and practices and stuff, like, when you come back to America and you see there's so many differences, like, that is a strength that
Right.
we uniquely have here in America. And if we turn our morals and our values away from that, it could have unintended consequences that make us less competitive and less of the innovative country that we believe ourselves to be.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So the next question is, do you feel like you did enough to affect the election in the way you wanted to see it go?
No, I don't think I did enough. And to be honest, it was because I was afraid to speak my mind. I was worried that if I did, I might be putting a bullseye on my back. There's so much hostility around the choices,
Yeah.
other people's choices. Um, so I was worried there might be retaliation by those who've been emboldened to support their beliefs at the cost of other people's well-being.
Mm.
But I really do my best not to make fear-based decisions, because they really tend to not serve anyone. But the fear of being targeted really did silence me. I really think, I truly believe that a majority of this country could never be so willfully ignorant to actually elect Trump back into not just any political office, right? Let alone the highest office in our country. But I was very wrong.
The point there is also, like, the amount of things that he did. Like, in his last term, the insurrection was a huge one. And I do not understand how people are trying to minimize that, because never in history has that happened before. And windows were broken,
Yeah.
and, like, people violated the Capitol. And thank goodness none of our legislators were caught by that mob, because we don't know what could have happened to them. But the fact that they had a gallows outside, nobody took that seriously enough, or at least some people did not take that seriously enough to say this is a stop in terms of being able to let him, or wanting him to be back in office. Some of us did, not all of us, but yeah, no, that's a great point. That's a great point. So the next question is, what do you want to say to yourself 4 years in the future?
Oh, it is really hard. to look too far past today, because I look further, it makes me so angry at the direction this country has chosen to go. And I get so scared for our freedoms, for our voices, and our rights that I don't stay in that space for very long, right? For looking that
Yeah.
far ahead, and 4 years is really short. But if we're still a whole country, if we still have our freedoms, which unfortunately seem to be systematically, slowly being chiseled away, if we still have a voice, I guess I would want to say we made it. So let's find a way to never go back.
Yeah. That last part. Let's find a way to never go back. Yeah, the different perspectives on all of these issues are just so interesting. And I'm trying to just make sense of it, which is why I created this podcast. And just to sign off, we are all different, but we are all also the same. And what matters is we recognize that and move forward to make a better world for all of us. So thank you, Sarah. I absolutely appreciate you for being on with me. And I do appreciate your perspective and your expertise. And I'm really just hoping that folks heard you.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciated being able to participate and offer my perspective. And we all have to, when we breathe in and we breathe out, let's remember that the person next to us is breathing that same air.
Yeah. Yes, that's a great way to bring that home.